Hello, and you join us 40 minutes before the start of play on day two of this first test between England and Pakistan at Old Trafford. And we are going to be looking back at the events of the first day of play on this test. There isn't much to cover because it wasn't a very, it was a very sort of short day. There was a lot of disruptions during the day, but we're going to cover what play we did see and give you our views on that. And then Jacob has his 90-mile-an-hour take for us today as well. Um, so before we begin, we're going to do our traditional overview of the day. So I'll do that today, and then Jacob, you can do it tomorrow. So the day began with Pakistan winning the toss and opting to bat first, which is the decision that surprised many of us, given what the overheads were like. But they did it, and did get off to a good start. They did lose Abid Ali on 16, bowled beautifully by Jofra Archer, who was really looking really dangerous in the earliest parts of the day and really finding his lengths very well, really getting his pace up. So I mean, that was a good sign. So then they lost Abid Ali on 16 and were trailing at 36 for 1. And then very quickly, 3 overs later, they lost Azhar Ali as well. And they lost him, bowled LBW by Chris Wokes. So Wokes coming through once again. And he was bowled on a duck. And that left them floundering on 43 for 2. Things weren't looking good for Pakistan then. But then the partnership of Shan Masood and Babar Azam came out and really performed for Pakistan. They played the shots that they have shown us before beautifully. Anything that was slightly short, anything that was slightly wide, was just put away, and especially on the offside. And there was a period just before and just after lunch where they played beautifully and really did take the game to England. And when Dom Best struggling and Dom Best really toiling on an unforgiving surface for spin, Babar Azam made 69 not out, and Shan Masood made 46 not out. Now those scores would have been higher had there not been the disruptions in the day that we saw. So firstly, there was a 3-hour rain delay at the start, just after lunch. There was a 3-hour rain delay. The pitch was then inspected once again at 5 o'clock, deemed all right for play, and then suddenly we had the sight, a very farcical sight of players in bright sunshine with perfect conditions. The players still inside from 5 o'clock to 5:45, before play started again, and it was really it was a really silly decision, really confusing. But that's what happened. They came back out at 5:45. Play begun once again, and then was quickly halted 45 minutes later due to bad light. And so the day finished early. There wasn't much Test cricket to be seen. 49 overs bowled during the day, so just about half a day we saw, and bad light once again ruined the day, but we will discuss that later on. But the key takeaways from the day are that Pakistan are in a very strong position now. They end the day on 139 for 2, and they begin today with Babar Azam on 69 not out and Shan Masood on 46 not out, both looking very, very strong and very likely to go ahead and make a big score.
Yeah, it was a good day for Pakistan. Very good day. Not so much a good day for Abid Ali, whose Test average of 107 is going to take a bit of a hit. Unless he makes 100 in the next innings, you never know. However, he didn't look particularly secure. He was bowled by a bit of a beauty from Jofra Archer, who, despite his seemingly heavy dislike of Old Trafford and the surfaces there, he bowled pretty well.
I would say that he did.
Jofra Archer seems like exactly the type of bowler who would have been excellent at Old Trafford when the square was turned round.
Yeah.
But now that it's been put, I think it's north to south rather than east to west now.
Yeah.
Now that it's been put north to south, it seems every bowler hates it. Even Jimmy Anderson, he doesn't like bowling from his end. He doesn't like bowling from James Anderson end because it's too hard. It's like the surface doesn't work for him. So all these great Old Trafford pitches and great moments of Old Trafford, Glenn McGrath, Wasim Akram on Old Trafford, these all happened before it was rotated round, and I don't know why it was.
I think
they were remodeling the ground, weren't they? And
they were building those two post boxes in the pavilion.
So the pitch is really taking a hit from that, because the last two Test matches it was slow.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You never get that at an Old Trafford pitch, and this Test match it was a bit quicker, but not that quick. So there's some good carry through it. Interesting pitch, and then Chris Wokes bowled well. It was a really weird day when Jimmy Anderson was the most expensive bowler, and then Jofra Archer was the most economical. Like that doesn't usually happen.
It was weird, but also Dom Bess was struggling a bit.
Dom Bess, I felt bad for Dom Bess. The surface was all right for him. It was turning. The two leg spinners in the Pakistani team will be licking their lips.
Yeah.
But Dom Bess has kind of three things going against him. One is that obviously the Jos Buttler scenario yesterday. He dropped Shan Masood. He didn't drop him, but he dropped him once and missed a stumping on him.
Yeah.
He missed two opportunities to take Shan Masood's wicket off Dom Bess because he just couldn't account for the bounce and he didn't react quick enough. He didn't take it. Which for me as the president of the Ben Folkes fan club is quite a good sign, because Folkes is the better batsman than Buttler in Test cricket. Butler's thing has always been that he's the best keeper, and if he starts making more mistakes like this, it's a problem for him.
I thought your 90-mile-an-hour take was coming at the end.
That's not my 90-mile-an-hour take. My 90-mile-an-hour take is something even bigger. But yeah, it was a very good day for Pakistan. Yeah. Dom Bess, the two other things that he's got an issue with, he looks great bowling to left-handers.
Yeah.
But the right-handers, the way they set the field, and also the way he bowls kind of naturally, he starts on middle and leg, and so there's always just that tuck around the corner. And also the old school cricketers on the commentary, and myself included in that. I'm not an old school cricketer, I'm quite young, but that's the viewpoint I take, which is I don't know why every time there's a spinner on, they have a deep point, because that's an easy single. Anytime the spinner tries to bowl that attacking line, which is what Dom Bess isn't doing, because he's bowling on middle and leg. The attacking line you want is just outside off stump. But as soon as you bowl that line with a deep point, there's a single immediately.
Yeah.
And all you have to do is knock it straight into the offside. There's a single, the batsman gets off strike, and you have to start again.
You just play into the spin. And
the third thing, which is working against Dom Bess, is that the man's 22.
Yeah.
He's not played first-class cricket that long. He's learning his first-class cricket game in the Test arena. Now, that's a great place to learn it, because you can become a great player that way. But don't expect him to be a great player now. He's a very good spinner. He's very serviceable, but he needs those extra years learning his game in the Test arena. And then once he has a bit more faith in himself, he's not just bowling to try and not make a mistake and keep his place in the side. He's trying to take more wickets. Once he's got more faith in himself, once the captain has more faith in him to set fields and stuff, he can start bowling that more attacking line and start taking more wickets and using more variations. So I think
definitely.
Dom Bess at this point, it's hard to say like, oh, he had a terrible game, unless he, had a genuinely terrible one, went for however many 100 runs or something. But if he's not that economical, it's because he's not really helped at times.
I would agree.
But I am trying desperately on my phone to try and look through Google Translate to find the Urdu for how damn good is Babar Azam. He is exceptionally good, and Shan Masood is a very good anchor at the top of that.
This partnership is already on 92 or something, and it can go and be a really significant partnership for Pakistan. I mean, we've got to say that day one, however much play we saw, it was Pakistan's day. It was firmly in favour of them, and the momentum is firmly in their favour. And especially, I mean, and it is down to one guy, and that's Babar Azam, because he has played so well. Some of the shots that he played were sublime, really good to watch.
Coming down the pitch to best, a couple of those were,
It's when he smacks him for six as well.
I don't think he ever smashed him for six. It was a one back four.
There was 1-6.
No, it wasn't. It was a one back four. It bounced like that much in front of the boundary.
Yeah.
But it was a huge shot. He just came down the wicket, and this was when he was on like 30 something.
Yeah.
40.
Yeah.
And he was like, right, I'm not having this. Bam!
It was a statement of intent. Because it's not just with him. It's not just in this innings, especially, that he is a very good, very, very good batsman, and a very good Test batsman. It's that he can play. He knows when to leave, but also he can score very quickly. So I mean, his 69 came off, I think, 75 or something deliveries. He wasn't in all that long before he started scoring, and he's just one of those batsmen. You get it sometimes where, someone who can get their iron very quickly. And he does, he doesn't need to be on the pitch that long, and suddenly he just starts scoring.
But that's what brilliant. That's what annoyed me with. Oh, sorry, carry on.
Anything that was slightly wide, he just pounced on and pushed it away to the offside, because he plays so well on that offside. It's brilliant.
That's what annoyed me though when he was battling against Dom Bess. He came down the pitch, he hit that big four, and then what you want is the chance for Dom Bess to come back, give it a bit more flight, say, okay, do it again, try and hit me again. Put the pressure on him, but that deep point was out. And so the very next ball, Babar Azam just tucked it. Bess bowled a nice attacking ball. Babar Azam just tucked it onto the leg side, offside rather. Single. He's off strike. He's out of danger.
Yeah, exactly.
So that was irritating. In terms of how England come back, well, what we now have to do is the dreaded thing for all England fans: rely on first innings batting. Oh no.
We will. Well, I think there's two parts to this. The first one is the performance in the field needs to get better. I think Josh Butler will have sat down last night and will have just thought, well, there were mistakes made yesterday. I know what I can do. I know that I can be better than this. And we've seen that when the pressure is on him, he performs. So hopefully, now that the pressure is on him, and now that people have started to say, well, this isn't good enough, he's going to perform, and he will be able to he'll be able to take the catches and not drop stuff that shouldn't be dropped. So that's the first thing. And then the second thing, as you said, is how much we get them out for, because they're looking like they're going to set a very formidable total at this point, and if it's north of 300, then we are going to have to we're going to have to get close, like very close, or at least, surpass that total, even if it's just by one run, because you need to have the first innings lead.
Yeah, ideally, what would happen is you'd get Babar Azam and Shah Masood quickly this morning, try and make a bit of a run through the team and get them out for 300, and then your first innings guys have got to come out and make 400, get 100 lead.
Yeah.
And then that kind of puts the pressure back on Pakistan, because if they make 300, then we only have to chase 200.
Yeah.
So it's them like having to push for the draw a bit, and
it puts time pressure into play as well by that point.
Yeah. This is definitely now a situation where England's first innings batting has to be up to scratch, which it usually isn't.
Yeah.
And they have to make 400.
I do think that. I mean, obviously, it's only been. I mean, it was only half a day's play, really. It wasn't even a full day's play.
Yeah.
But from what we've seen, I do think that it's firmly. This is one for Pakistan to win, and one for, and crucially, I think the momentum is all in their favour at this point.
Although I'm not too worried about the series, because as they pointed out on the commentary yesterday, we were always like, England have a bit of a habit of this. They've lost the first match in their last 5 Test series.
Yeah.
So, and a lot of those are 3 Test series.
Yeah.
So we lost the first match against South Africa, against the West Indies. We won both those series. Lost the first match against Australia. That was a drawn series. Ultimately, I just kind of want England to win a first match sometimes so that they can do well and be in the driving seat. But
well, I mean, obviously there's an unrelated point, but I mean, the question will be, yes, you know, when you're at home or when you're against, you know, certain test nations, you can lose a series, that's all right. But if you go to Australia next winter and lose the first test, it's always at the Gabba. And if you lose the first test there with a crowd out your throats, and you know, while you're in Australia, it's just, you know, the rivalry is so intense that everyone is always at your throat, then that's going to be a very different proposition to losing the first test at any other series, because you know, it is going to be very hard to come back from that. So it is a habit that they can't get complacent about, and they do need to change.
Yeah, absolutely. But now that we've talked a bit about the very truncated day, I would like to address the item of both our fury.
Oh, this is
bad light and rain delays and how they're handled. So the rain delay yesterday, they had an inspection at 5 and they deemed that the pitch was good for play, but that the outfield was too wet. While the sun was out, these perfect conditions could have had an extra hour's play.
45 minutes. Players were sat in their dressing rooms while.
So they scheduled another inspection for 5:30. They were like, it's fine now, so we have to wait another 15 minutes to resume play. Yeah. Resume play then. Do it now.
Go for it. And no one is holding you up. Everyone is ready to get back out on the field.
Yeah, Michael Vaughan rightly said it was reminiscent of England in 1995, I think, at Lord's, where the England players were literally sunbathing on the balcony of the pavilion, but the outfield was too wet for play. Like, if the outfield's a bit slippy, it's fine. Yes, everyone goes, Simon Jones, because he injured his knee on wet ground sliding. But I can't remember the last time someone's, you know, fallen over and broken something because it's wet. Yeah. It's only when they slide and they get their knee stuck, and you just got to be careful. Yeah. But, I mean, it's irritating.
I mean, it really is. And the thing is, it's one of those things that obviously you can't do much about rain delays. You know, if it's raining, you can't play. That's just the simple. Mm-hmm. You know, or actually, if it's raining too much, you can't play. You know, if it's just a bit of drizzle, you can play. But if it's raining too much, you can't play. That's fine. But when you have perfect conditions, obviously they're not excuses, but you need to change. They need to address these regulations, and they need to say that, well, you know, if the sun is out, then that's fine. You know, yeah, the outfield might be a little bit wet there, but that's fine. You know, and then not only did you have that rain delay, you had that huge fuss afterwards where England come back out. You know, the play is about to resume, and then the umpires decide, oh, the light isn't good enough. So instead of being able to bowl your pace bowlers, and given that they seem to have in the delay, they seem to have agreed on a tactic where Jofra would bowl short balls,
which was stupid when the light was looking bad, because that immediately draws the umpire's attention to, oh, this is a bit quick, it's a bit dangerous, maybe the light's a bit.
Yeah, but this is where So they they had this strategy where they thought we can unsettle Babar Azam by bowling short balls and getting Jofra to pitch it short, and then Chris Wokes from another side just bang it in and hold that. And what happened instead is that obviously they were just not allowed by the umpires to bowl pace. So you had almost the situation where Don Best would have had to bowl spin from one end, and then Joe Root would have had to bowl himself from the other end. And then obviously just before he started to bowl, he was just getting ready, and then they took everyone off bad light.
Yeah, I was happy that they did the thing where they introduced two spinners, because I got annoyed about this in the last test where I was like, you've got two spinners, don't come off for bad light, bowl your two spinners.
Yeah. There's a very simple solution to this, which is to use a pink ball. I've said this.
Yeah, and we've discussed this already. You have a box of pink balls in various conditions.
Yeah, exactly.
It's it's really simple.
But is this something? The question we have to ask is this has to be now a priority for the ICC and ECB.
Yeah. The thing that really annoyed me is that they took them off when there's two spinners on. It's two off spinners. you can see the ball. It's not fast.
Yeah.
It's moving about a bit because it's spinning, but not a huge amount. It's not dangerous.
I suppose Joe Root and I suppose England would have been. I don't know. I don't think they'd have. I suppose they would have been a bit happy.
Gearing up to bowl. Joe Root was ready to bowl.
Yeah,
the umpires took them off. You can see the ball.
Yeah.
I'm down here on the south coast. It was similar sort of. I know I'm not in Manchester. I'm a long way away, but it was similar kind of conditions. It was overcast. It was damp. 2 hours after they took the players off, I looked outside. I was in my sitting room with the curtains closed. I could have seen a ball.
Yeah.
Now I don't face 90-mile-an-hour bowling. I don't know what that's like. I know it's difficult. But if it was a spinner, I could see the ball in my sitting room with curtains closed in similar conditions. If I looked outside, of course you can see the ball. There is no reason.
There's no reason at all.
And what it does, which really irritates me, is it betrays the fans and it betrays the authorities who've got the game on, because they've spent all this time and effort and money in the middle of a pandemic getting the game back on. Surely every possible step must be taken to play as much as possible.
Oh yeah, definitely. But there are so many simple solutions, which even we have been able to figure out, these solutions. So surely the ICC or the ECB can sit down with how many geniuses they have, and they can, the people who know a lot more about cricket than we do, and they can think of a solution. We suggested 2 perfectly good ones, but it's.
Well, this leads me on to my 90-mile-an-hour take.
Yeah, go on.
The 90-mile-an-hour take for today's episode is, in order to combat this issue of bad light and to grow the game better and engage more fans, every test match should be a day-night test match, and they should all air on free-to-air TV. I will tell you for why. Because day-night test matches are much better scheduled to engage young audiences. They start at 2, 3 in the afternoon. Yeah. That's just when kids are getting off school. And they run all the way through prime time to just about, a little bit after a kid's bedtime. Older kids, it's when 15-year-olds, it's when they finish school to about when they go to bed. So there is no reason why there shouldn't be a day-night test match for every match. And as well as that, it should air on free-to-air TV, because not everyone has Sky. It's expensive, and they're always talking about trying to get more, working class people into cricket, more ethnic minorities into cricket, who often are socioeconomically less well off. And so trying to do this, the ECB, I know they don't have a lot of money at the moment because of coronavirus, but once revenues pick up, you can sacrifice a bit of sponsorship money. You can get sponsorship on the BBC or put it on ITV or Channel 4 so you can have advertising, whatever you want. But you're going to have to give up Sky's basically going to have to give up the rights and the money they get from running it and people paying for Sky. But yeah, just put it on free-to-air TV so that kids can come home from school with their parents and watch cricket and get enthused about the cricket and want to go and play cricket. They can watch it and go, oh, my dad likes this or whatever. This is a good thing for the family to do. Why don't we go join a club or something? Yeah. So that's what I think. Every test should be a day-night test. It looked cool under the lights. The pink ball, you don't have to go off the bad light. That completely eliminates that from the game. And yeah, free-to-air TV.
So that is a very, very radical proposal. I have to say, I think I agree with that, and I'll tell you why. Is because day-night cricket is brilliant. It's such a spectacle anyway, especially Test cricket. And T20 leagues do that. They play at night or they play in the evenings, and they've had success because it's when people are actually watching and people actually have the time to watch. The only thing is, obviously, Sky giving up the rights in the UK, and obviously in other countries, the broadcasters there giving up the rights would cause the boards to lose such a huge amount of revenue. You know, there'd be a lot of broadcast revenue lost.
Well,
So
they don't get, they get a payment from Sky to host the cricket, but they get a payment from Channel 4 or something to host the cricket. I think Sky take all the money that people pay to get Sky to watch the cricket. So it's only the lump sum from the channel, which Channel 4 or ITV will give you anyway, the sponsorship money, which on Channel 4 or ITV you can get, and the advertising money, which on Channel 4 or ITV you can get.
yeah, no, it's very true. And I mean,
I'm not entirely sure of that, by the way. If there's some cost
yeah,
which
well,
Sky,
that's if you guys listeners are you know more about this than us, you know, then write into us and tell us either why we're right or why we're wrong here. But no, if there is a way that they can keep the revenues or keep the money that is coming in, you know, at the same level, then it needs to be done. Because you know what, Dane, I mean, and there'll be a lot of purists, there'll be a lot of, I mean, very old-fashioned people, you know, especially in the boards as well. But I suppose you'd call them dinosaurs in this age. But you know, there's a lot of people who would say, "Oh, you can't do that. You can't sacrifice Test cricket like that." You know, with it's meant to be played during the day and stuff. And it's like, well, yes, traditionally it was, but people don't watch it. And what's the point of having a sport if people don't watch it? You know, if you want to keep the game alive, then you need to do it in a way that appeals to people. So yes, I think I agree there that they should change Test cricket to a day-night format, and it should be on free-to-air TV. You know, because we've had so many years of it not being in the UK, and I'm sure in other countries as well, it's the same. You know, it's not on free-to-air TV, and it needs to be.
it makes it more affordable as well. So first of all, I actually couldn't care less if the ECB lose a bit of money from this move. I think sacrifice the money for the good of the game. I'm an idealist, but you know that's never going to happen. But that's what I would like to see.
The other thing it would do is it would increase attendances at grounds as well.
It makes it more affordable because not only when people want to come and watch Test cricket, not only do they have to contend with ticket prices, but if they take a day off work, they lose pay. They're losing money to come and watch cricket, and it's because they love it. Contrast this to Sky had a very good segment on Pakistan. It was called Out of Exile. It was Pakistan coming back into kind of the international test arena and people going back to Pakistan. They were talking about the PSL, the Pakistani equivalent of the IPL, which is their T20 competition, and it cost. They had two guys interviewed on there. They said they went to a match. It cost them 500 rupees for a ticket, which is about $4.
Yeah.
And they said, "Is that affordable for you?" And they said, "Yeah, that's really affordable. It's really cheap." And so, how can you compete with T20 as Test cricket if T20 is traditionally seen as more exciting? It's on at a better time. It's more of a spectacle because it's at night and with the white ball and people hitting more sixes and stuff. And it's cheaper. It's just cheaper.
It's a perfect recipe. But the thing is also, I don't think you need to compete with T20. T20 isn't a competition. It's the same sport. T20 is what keeps Test cricket financially viable, and that's the way it should be. If we have a situation where T20 starts to overtake Test cricket, that's where the problem is. T20.
Well, that's what we've got now.
Yeah, but T20 fundamentally should be the financial foundation of the rest of the cricket structure, because it brings in enough money to do that. It's just boards need to get their priorities right, and they don't have the priorities right now. But you know what can we do? We're two guys sitting here chatting about.
Yeah, I mean, we love cricket and we want to see it get better.
Campaign for us to be made, you know, new chairman of the ICB or something.
Yeah, we would love to be high up in the ECB. If you'll start a petition, you know, get us in there, get the election going. We can do it. Pav for president.
Yeah.
I mean, technically, you'd be eligible for the BCCI as well. That's two of the big three. We only need an Australian, and then we're sorted.
We can find an Australian.
Then we will control the cricketing world.
Okay. Anyways, that was a very, very good 90-mile-an-hour take, I have to say. Yeah. Right. So shall we do what we usually finish with, which is our star player, moment of the day, and our word to describe the day?
Okay, star player from Pakistan. I'm going to go with Babar Azam. Classy player, kept them in it. You know, Shan Masood, he anchored the innings well, but Babar Azam brought that quick scoring sort of. He did a Ben Stokes basically. He upped the tempo.
I was just going to say that. Yeah.
Came in, he got the momentum, put the pressure back on the bowlers, chose his shots well, was sensible. You know, Shan Masood, a couple of times he came down the wicket. That missed stumping is an example. He came down the wicket and just swung at it. Babar Azam picked those shots really well. Sometimes he'd just sit back. Sometimes he played his trademark gorgeous cover drive off Don Best a couple of times.
Best in the
and
world.
Then he just came down the pitch and walloped him and then just got a single off the next ball. So really thoughtful, quick scoring innings from Babar Azam, and that was fantastic. Moment of the day, the wicket of Abid Ali off Jofra Archer. That was a peach. Star player for England, sorry. I'm going to go Jofra Archer again. Very good performance from him. He is not usually economical. He was the most economical bowler. He is not usually a favour of Old Trafford. He seemed to like it. The pitch has got some more carry. I think he'll be quite important. However, I am worried by the fact that over the last 3 test matches I've seen him, I think his average speed has been something like 83 miles an hour.
Speed is down.
You know, we don't expect him to come in and bowl 95 every ball, but we don't want him to seem like he's losing that capability of bowling over 90 because that's his gig. If he bowls with the skill he has at the pace he can, you know. I was watching some old footage of Shoaib Akhtar. Admittedly, it was in a one-day game, not a test game, but he came in and every ball was over 140 kilometres. Some were 141, some were 151, but it was all in that range of 88 to 95 miles an hour. And none of it was 82, 81 miles an hour, unless it was a slower ball. It's like Jofra has to learn that consistency, get fit and ready and healthy and get himself bowling consistently fast.
Oh, yeah. No, I agree.
But he played other than that, he played really well today, in amongst a pretty bad bunch. I've said the moment of the day, word to describe the day. I'm going to go with 2, and I'm going to pronounce them horribly, but Pakistan Zindabad. My Urdu is not great, but that is kind of the only way you can describe it. It was Pakistan's kind of rampant day. And I'm looking forward to seeing that contest start again in 8 minutes.
Yeah.
We leave it late on the Top of Off podcast.
We do. You know what? We bring you topical. We make it topical. That's what it is.
It's not topical. It's yesterday.
Up to the minute. Anyway.
Within 24 hours.
Oh, dear me. We do need to start recording these in the evening at some point. But anyway, my star player is for Pakistan. Yeah, Babar Azam again, because he kept them in it. You know, he definitely kept them in it. But also, not just did he keep them in it, he gave them such a good chance of winning. Just the shots that he played, the way that he batted. You know, he showed why he's regarded as one of the best batsmen in the world. Moment of the day. When he smacks Best for that one bounce 4, you know, right over to, it was such a good shot. Amazing shot. So yeah, and then every single, you know, every other cover drive, every other offside drive that he did, you know, so good. And I do think that he is the best cover drive in the modern game. I still think that, genuine. Right. So my word to describe the day.
Star player for England.
Oh yeah, star player for England. Yes,
if there is one.
It would have to be Jofra or Wokes, because you know they're the only 2 that made like a real contribution to England's case yesterday, and you know, as long as they can carry on today, England still have a chance. But obviously, it all depends on how the performance in the field is. If fielding can get better, then England have a chance. But at the moment, there were just too many mistakes yesterday. But yeah, it'd be Jofra or Chris Wokes. And then word to describe the day. Frustrating, in that obviously if you're an England player, you'd be frustrated because you know there's a lot of missed opportunities, but also just, you know, how do you get Babar Azam out is a question. Yeah, that's going to be frustrating. But also just for cricket fans in general, how frustrating it is that you lose so much play for just I mean, there really are silly reasons, you know. There's so many ways you can fix that, but yeah, that would be my word to describe the day.
Excellent.
But yes, right. So that is all we have. There are now 6 minutes to go before play starts again on day 2. So at this time we leave you, and we will be back tomorrow with our overview of the events of day 2. But yes, for now, we bid you goodbye, and we'll see you again tomorrow.